My quarter year life crisis. Yes, that's correct. And it's at the same time, you're seeing a black screen as I was blocking the webcam because it's shitty quality. This has been on my mind. It's been on my chest as well. And didn't know what's the best way to make a video of this. But looking back at it, that's life. Life has a journey. And I'm pretty sure with my recent videos, it really does open my eyes and viewed differently. So I'm at the age of 28. Last 3 years ago, or perhaps 3 years, I literally moved from Sydney to Melbourne as being a rebel or trying to escape with my father lifestyle, trying to get rid, keep a distance away from debts and everything. Now, this could be a terrible situation, but luckily I have family members who's definitely in Melbourne. But the most important thing about this whole video is just to look at it, and because I see other YouTubers, they do the same thing. It's a great reflect to go back this whole thing. Okay, so recently I dropped out of university, Bachelor of Social Work, and now doing aged care, Certificate 3 in trade school, or for Australians out there, TAFE. I've been downgrading, and it's something that it still bothers me right now. I moved to Melbourne for one reason, just to go education and get somewhere. And I decided to move my way from Cert 4, diploma, and finally went to Bachelor, and boom, straight away, Cert 3. I'm 28 now. It's funny how, looking back at it now, so much hard work, it's all gone to waste. Besides, Cert 4 and diploma will get me a job, but the university has opened my eyes and taught me and being educated in different aspects. Yes, I know sociology, gender studies, feminists, and all of them made me understand a lot more about the current news, the current political, and things to say, things not to say. And, try to be in their lens or be in their shoes. I said to my former roommate in Camberwell, and I said to him, if I still continue staying in Sydney, I probably wouldn't head to anywhere in life because I wouldn't understand the political correctness and how to talk professionally without being come across sexist or patriarchal minded. Melbourne taught me a lot, and it taught me what's left and what's right, which I didn't quite understand at that time. What are the things to say, what are the things are not to say. And it's just on and on and on. I look back at my old workplace, the way how I approach, the way how I say it. And that was in, not probably within 7 years. That stuff would have got me sacked by now and would have put me on the list. Our language is changing now. And I'm glad. That's one aspect that I'm glad that I moved to Melbourne. That's just something that I've learned to be a lot more mature-minded, be mindful, observe, persistent, relax, and observe. That's one part. Now, let's get back to the full. I'm looking back in the past. You see, as I mentioned before, that in the title, being a rebel. Right now I'm at 28. The only debt I have is study debts. I'm on a welfare where the government's giving me money to go and have an education or upskill. But when I look back my history, and this is starting from being a high school dropout, negative surroundings, and the culture that I was in Sydney. I'm just really glad that I met a mentor, David, who guided me, who straightened me up, gave me some, his tips and pointers, his advice, and he shared his experience and his pathway about his career path and life path, which made me who I am today. But at the same time, I did fail the career path from him. I think going through this whole experience and understand the corporate world which he is working, it's just so fascinating. But you know what? To go through this whole thing, it's a journey, perhaps. So this is one of the things. And, after taking his advice, my life has a different lens. I'm seeing things differently. And he taught me a huge lesson, especially after I fractured my spine. Very suicidal, depression, binge eating, insomnia at night. It's like a cassette player keeps playing around my head. So, suffer mental health, and I need to get out. My dad once built for me a house. I had a house under my name. I was a 50% director of the family building business with him. I had a car. It was pretty good setup, but my mental state just went downhill. If I lived with my dad and didn't move to Melbourne, I'd probably get arranged marriage, probably with a large amount of debts. We'll be talking about more than 5 million Australian. And, currently my dad has 3-4 properties. If I was in the picture, it would probably be 7 properties because of me being a young age and what is going on with the loose lending loans on mortgage during that time. We're talking about 2, 3, 4 years ago. And look at me right now. Recently dropped out of university. And no house, no savings. Just having a study debt. God knows how much it is, maybe 18,000 or less. The only thing that I'm really happy that I have right now is my car. MX-5 NA 89 model, manual. Even today there's still a problem, but I'm happy to fix the car. It's amazing how things go through. I guess Melbourne did straighten me up. One of the things that a lot of videos talking about if you're on a crisis or quarter-year crisis is you got to move to a different state or different city to start a brand new life. In these 3 years, of course, I've learned a lot. I've learned the red pill, MGTOW, feminism, alimony, talk about like social problems, social life, being a human development, studies, everything. It's taught me to a long distance way and jigsaw puzzle about my history, my past, and my family as well. Through university studies of human development, and look at the history and to current welfare in Australia, sociology, feminism, and how things has made, in a deeper lens that I've always wanted to know: industrial revolution, agriculture, technology era, romanticism, modernity, globalization. These are the sort of stuff I would have learned, but thanks for uni who gave me that opportunity, and as well gender studies who keep me up straight and realize stuff that I need to be, keep my mouth shut about. Sorry, that was a dog. He's eating his food. See, that's a huge contrast. If I wasn't be a rebel and stayed the way I was and with the family, I would have got like a couple of houses, 5, 7 houses as I mentioned before. Even though my dad ran house full, but they're all bank. Just to let you know, they're not paid off. 5% deposit. So don't feel like I am a wealthy or coming from a wealthy family. We just did it because of growth opportunity as housing is going skyrocketed month by month, day by day in Australia. Okay? It's just a gamble. And I would have been a building business by now. But yet I've chose to stay in this lifestyle. It's hard to imagine what it would be like. I remember 2 years ago, family member was talking about arranged marriage for me because I said to them I don't want to get married. Now if I didn't move to Melbourne, that's what my lifestyle would be like. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what to say now because there's a huge contrast. Am I getting any better or not? Because all I'm saying now is I'm a lot more educated than 3-4 years ago. Thanks to Melbourne, able to give me that lens on looking, even though it's a lefty state, even though it's very, very pro, Labour, Green Party. I don't know. Am I heading in the right direction? Well, my course is going to finish within 4 or 5 months. Actually, I can't say 5 months. I have to say 4 months because today is the 31st October, Halloween 2018. Seriously, I don't know. It's very hard to imagine. What would it be like if I stayed? It's tough. And those are the things that is stuck to my chest. Feeling like, I'm 28 and not going anywhere in life. And sneaky going through Facebook and see someone's life and try to compare with yours. It's very temptation, Whether they got a house or a car or married or have kids. And you always compare yourself when you're in this position. And one more, I feel like I'm always negative about it. And the more I study social work and aged care, the more I learned about humans and social problems, how it's a natural course in human life. But my mindset is very negative than before. It's a lot negative, and I don't see a bright light. That's the problem with it now. Maybe things change in the future. Maybe it's not. And I wish I didn't study it. Because now I know too much and now I'm very negative because you're too educated. It's like people says about the priest or the church or religion. They don't like people to be educated because they started to question, and wouldn't be humble and listen. So I'm ready to say I know too much already. But it is the information that I've always wanted it and always curious about it when I was Sydney. When I was 23, 24, 25, I was very curious about this whole thing. Why am I like this and why am I like that? And I said to my friends, last week about, where my life is at the moment. I was speaking to a dentist friend. I said, look at me, I've got nothing. Still studying, finish 2 more months, get out and do aged care. I'm always constantly scared of 3D 3D printer automation. AI will replace a lot of jobs and find an area that won't be replaced. And I chosen social work. However, wasn't what the plan I wanted to go. Drop down and do aged care. But I always said back of my head, at least the groups of negative friends that I hang out with, some of them are still on drugs or drug dealing, pop kids. That's my negative friend circles in high school. And I'm considered lucky. At least I'm going somewhere. At least I'm trying, invest in myself to be educated, even though it's a painful journey to go through. And it's hard to realize university, it doesn't really mean as much as anything, unless if it's a STEM degree. Because what I realize is that many people come out every single year, tens or even 100,000 from all different universities within the state. Now, I only say probably 100 or 20,000 or 30,000 every single year, or maybe less, 15,000, all coming out and all fighting for the same position. And what I've realized about Australia is a mining tourism service country. It's very hard to swallow that pill because there's no jobs literally. When I was a kid, many people says, they hear their family members or their brothers do uni degree to come out. There's no job. It's useless. Or people come up to me and say, oh, you know what? Social welfare or social work, they're just there for the money. They're not there to help people, which I can't understand why the left is like that. Or, and I never take that in consideration. And I make those mistakes and I go there, go study for it. And I realized towards the end, man, as a young kid, this sort of information people has been telling me around my age bracket. And look at me now, I'm stuck into that system. It's hard to realize, many people come out of the uni degree and there's no jobs. And holistically, reality hits to my mind, realizing that those who secure jobs are those who get promoted or move up from their corporate ladder or their job, where the employees or themselves decide to go to university, get that degree so they can move up to the next level. Because everyone's is fighting for high level position, middle position jobs, but nobody's fighting for the low wages jobs. Essentially, you can work your way up if you're low wages jobs. So that really blew my mind up to understand the whole thing. And I'm always constantly have this negative minded. And the next part is one of the main reasons why I make this video is my previous video, or the previous 2 videos, was me and myself and a childhood friend steps towards to homeless. Now, I volunteer work on this Monday, just emergency relief, just pretty much giving out food parcel for those who is in crisis or who's in need. Usually it's retirement or low income holders or perhaps homeless. This childhood friend, my dad wanted to straighten up my life and introduce me some good friends. His was one of them. He went to a private school, Catholic private school, high school, live in a better middle class suburb than I was back then. And my dad wanted me to hang out with him and see him as a role model. And yesterday, which I haven't bumped into him for more than God knows how many years. That introduced me probably like 13, 14 years ago. And after that, I did bump into him probably 2011 or 2010, but it was just a quick hi, that's all. And looking at him, accessing my service, wanting to get food parcels, who just recently moved to Melbourne. That literally snapped my mind and realised you can't compare everyone. Just because they will have a better roots of their life or better studies, it does not necessarily mean they secure a better life. And I started to call back to my former roommate in Camberwell and told him what I was thinking. All that negative talk I said to you, I'm such a disgrace. Look at me studying this course. What am I doing? And I said to him, this guy who moved down to Melbourne, who also straightening up his life, also currently studying, God knows how long, he wants to do a degree, but he's a worse position than me. He steps towards the homeless. And me complaining to you a couple of days ago about my shitty life, heading nowhere. Where at the age of 28, people will get, just finished paying off their uni debts, or maybe close to finish. Or I'm been watching too much fake world of everyone's social media, not knowing their inside. And I said to him, man, I did not know humans, we end up like that. Like, it's unbelievable just to think about. And now I've changed my look towards to anyone and start to realize that just because those who has an early successful or bright life, it doesn't necessarily mean their entire life is like that. The winner, the champion on everyone is towards the end when it comes to retirement or when it comes to getting to the aged care, that they could get a good facility or good retirement fund to order to stay themselves once they reach to the retirement age, which currently is 67 years old. So I said to the back of my head, you know what? I changed my goal. I know everyone's life goals is kind of similar on the line. Maybe they want to travel around the world or get married, have kids, or have a house. I've scrapped that goal. My goal is to save as much money to prolong my surviving journey to go to retirement. It's a secure way. I see that as a lot more secure than go for marriage, than go for divorce. What happens if you go to divorce? You see that you pay child support or you're giving the house to her. And what you have left, you have no savings. So you're worse position than me if you go through that. And it's a normal thing, divorce. And don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming divorce, it's just not for me not getting married. I don't see I'm the right fit to enter this sort of stuff. Even till right now, like my classmate, there's this girl, Vietnamese girl, who's my age. And when you do aged care, it's either young people or those who are reaching their midlife crisis. And they said to me, oh, why don't you go with this girl? And this happened like yesterday. And I'm thinking about it and I'm like, you know, now this is where generalizing me coming from. But I know for the fact that I wouldn't make my dad happy if I do, whether I get married or whether I be with this girl, based upon her nationality, forbidden Vietnamese. And this is where I started to think of whether should I switch to blue pill. Because, this last mate, I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking about this, but, I'm not a good looking bloke. I'm definitely the 80% of no traction. A woman doesn't chase. Or any assets, status. I have nothing. But if this girl can do it, then I start to think about this blue pill and I start to say, it's too complicated to go through. Then I have to please her. Then maybe I have to get LV back. Then I have to go through all these things, spend all that money and realize I may not secure this whole thing. But, she's my father. She knows who am I. She knows in and out about me. This course is about to finish in 4 months, sorry. So, I don't know. That's why I'm, this crisis thing, like, I don't know. I know my dad's not going to be happy. My aunties won't be happy. My mum will be all right. But they do have a point. So there's so much going on at the age of, going through this quarter life crisis. I got nothing. Besides being smarter, educated than before. And with uni debt. Study debt. So yeah, that's the video. I can't believe I made it to 27 minutes.